In the middle of the 14th century, something went horribly wrong with the world. People didn't get sick slowly. They didn't have time to say goodbye. They went to sleep normal and woke up dying. No warning, no pattern. Just sudden fever, violent chills, and then those things started appearing, swollen, black lumps under the arms, along the neck, behind the ears. Hard, painful, rotting from the inside. Once they showed up, everyone knew the truth: death was already inside you. Sometimes it took days, sometimes it took hours. Entire families vanished overnight. Houses went quiet, doors stayed shut. Inside, bodies stacked where life had been just yesterday. Church bells rang nonstop, morning, night, over and over, until cities stopped ringing them at all. Not out of mercy, but because there were too many dead to count. Graveyards filled up fast, then spilled over, then stopped mattering. Bodies were dumped in trenches, streets emptied, and across Europe, one thought spread faster than the disease itself. This has to be the end, but what no one understood yet was that this wasn't just punishment or fate or bad air. This was the deadliest pandemic humanity had ever seen, the Black Death, and once it started moving, there was nowhere to hide. What makes this even more disturbing is that the world right before the plague wasn't falling apart. It was thriving. Europe was at its peak. Crops were strong. Food was everywhere. Populations exploded. Cities were packed shoulder to shoulder. Life felt unstoppable. Cathedrals rose into the sky like monuments of confidence. Trade routes connected continents. Goods flowed nonstop. The world felt smaller, faster, alive. And that connection, that was the doorway. Because the same roads that brought silk and spices were about to deliver extinction. The origin of the nightmare wasn't in Europe at all. It began far away, in the empty steppes of Central Asia, endless land, brutal cold, burning heat. Out there lived a quiet killer that had existed for thousands of years, hidden inside rodents. Marmots, ground squirrels, fleas. The bacteria didn't hunt humans, not at first, but nature shifted, drought hit, food vanished. Rodents moved closer to people, fleas jumped hosts, and suddenly humanity was part of the food chain. The first victims had no idea what they were facing. They burned with fever, vomited blood. Their bodies betrayed them from the inside. Then the swellings came, the buboes, signs that the clock was already ticking. Rumors started spreading along trade routes, cities in the east disappearing, entire regions silent. Europeans heard the stories and shrugged. Bad things always happen somewhere else, until the plague reached Kaffa, a wealthy port city, heavily fortified, confident, untouchable, or so they thought. In 1346, Kaffa was under siege by a Mongol army. The walls held, the city waited it out. Then death entered the Mongol camps. Soldiers dropped where they stood. Bodies turned black, flesh rotted. The army wasn't losing to weapons, it was losing to biology. And then came the decision that changed history. The Mongol leader ordered the plague-ridden corpses loaded into massive catapults and launched over the city walls, dead bodies flying through the air, crashing into homes. Splitting open in streets and marketplaces, the city was infected from the inside. Panic swallowed Kaffa. Merchants fled on ships, thinking they were escaping death. They weren't, they were carrying it. Those ships drifted into the Mediterranean like floating coffins. When they reached Messina, Sicily, the scene was pure horror. Crews dead, survivors screaming in pain, black boils leaking blood and pus. Authorities tried to drive the ships away, but rats were already running ashore. From there, it spread like something alive. City to city, port to port, street to street. Medieval cities were perfect traps, narrow alleys, open sewage. People stacked on top of each other. Once the plague entered, the city didn't just suffer, it collapsed. Doctors had no answers. Germs didn't exist yet. They blamed poisoned air, planetary alignments, God's anger. Treatments only made things worse. Bloodletting weakened victims. Burning herbs masked the smell of death, not the cause. Fear broke people. Parents abandoned children. Husbands left wives. Friends locked doors on the sick. Laws stopped being enforced because everyone enforcing them was dead. Bodies piled so fast they dug massive pits. No names, no prayers, just layers of human remains thrown into the earth. Religion twisted into desperation. Some whipped themselves bloody in the streets, begging for mercy. Others needed someone to blame. Accusations spread. Lies turned violent. Entire Jewish communities were slaughtered, even though they were dying too. The plague didn't stop at cities. It crept into villages, farms emptied, fields rotted, animals wandered without owners. Wolves moved closer. The world felt abandoned. By the time the first wave burned itself out, Europe was barely recognizable. Up to half the population was gone. Tens of millions erased in just a few years. The survivors walked through empty streets. Familiar places felt wrong, silent, haunted. The Black Death didn't just kill people, it killed certainty. It killed the belief that humanity was protected. And maybe the most disturbing part, locked homes, empty streets, fear of the air itself. That doesn't sound like ancient history. That sounds like a warning. Welcome to Dark Shelf, where the past never stays buried.